You thought you were protected, until Archangel Michael stepped back. That means only one thing. At the turning of the spiritual tide, when the winds grew still and the atmosphere lost its familiar rhythm, something shifted. The ever-watchful guardian of heaven's host, Archangel Michael, withdrew. Not in anger, not in punishment, but in divine precision. His presence, which had once surrounded you like an impenetrable wall of fire, seemed to fade. Not gone, not absent, just withdrawn. And it was in that withdrawal that the heavens waited. In that silence, a mystery began to speak. You sensed it, didn't you? The sudden stillness, the quiet that settled over your house. The dreams that used to guide you every night stopped. The sensations of divine presence you had grown accustomed to paused. You searched for answers in the familiar places, in worship, in prayer, in scripture, and yet everything echoed back hollow. A delay, a space, a waiting room between realms. And deep within, your soul whispered what you feared to admit. Something's changing. This moment, this sacred and strange moment, is not for everyone. No, this message is for those who have recently felt the shift. For those who were once covered and are now questioning. For those who sense the divine shield has moved and are looking for the reason why. If this has been you, then listen closely. For what seems like silence has never been empty, and what seems like abandonment has never been cruel. On the third night of silence, just after the dreams ceased and the air grew heavy, the moment arrived. That was the divine marker. The third night. Heaven counts in patterns. 3 days, a resurrection, a breaking, a revealing. That's when the Archangel stepped back. But hear this clearly. He did not step away to leave you. He stepped back to let you see. What you are about to hear is not a warning of despair but an instruction of divine intelligence. Heaven has moved into a new strategy, and you are being invited to discern it, not with panic, but with precision. Stillness is not your enemy. It is your invitation. Obedience is not a punishment. It is your preservation. And the Spirit of God is whispering now, through the stillness, through the space, through the veil, prepare. Listen. Understand. You were not left behind. You were chosen to step ahead. And now, Archangel Michael speaks not by his shout, but by his withdrawal. And that, beloved, means only one thing: you are about to see what's been hiding in plain sight. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. Before this day ends, you must understand why. I speak now, not from the edge of heaven, but from the center of divine authority. I speak now, not as a distant voice, but as the flaming sword of righteousness who has warred for your name since the day of your first breath. I am Michael, captain of the armies of the Most High, defender of the chosen, executor of heavenly decrees. I speak not to the curious, but to the called. I come not to soothe, but to awaken. For the seal has been broken, and the silence is over. You thought you were protected, until I stepped back. And beloved, that stepping back was not a punishment. It was the sound of a trumpet that only your spirit could hear. Before this day ends, you must understand why. This is your confirmation, not your imagination, not a phase, not your mind playing tricks. No, this disruption in the spirit, this unease that's wrapped around your nights, this sudden hollowness you cannot shake, is holy. It is heaven's alarm. It is the rumbling before revelation. And I was ordered to step back so you could finally step in. You see, Too long you have trusted in the warmth of presence without understanding the weight of purpose. You leaned on protection without discerning the positioning. But now, heaven has shifted. The strategy has evolved. And silence has become the new speech. This was a sacred withdrawal. Not to harm you, but to expose what's around you. Not to confuse you, but to awaken you. You've been surrounded by voices, distractions, illusions, voices pretending to be from God, movements designed to imitate light, people carrying swords behind their smiles. And as long as I stood at the gates, as long as I hovered over your door, they remained hidden. But now that I have stepped back, now that I've allowed the hedge to tremble, their true nature has begun to show. Still, I was never far. I watched. I hovered in the shadow of the Spirit's breath. I monitored the boundaries of permission. Because this moment is not about your safety, it's about your sight. You are in a holy proving ground, and the silence you feel is not absence. It is instruction. It is direction in disguise. Feel the weight of this moment, not as fear, but as fire. You are being summoned into divine clarity. The heavens are rolling back veils. The thrones are waiting for your response. What you do next will define the next season of your life. You must not misread the silence. You must not mistake this pause as rejection. It is a holy revelation wrapped in stillness. Let your spirit rise to attention. Let your heart awaken to this command. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The withdrawal of protection with the unveiling of prophecy. It was heaven stepping aside to let earth show you who's been standing beside you and who's been hiding behind you. Can you feel it now? The eyes that once seemed friendly now feel strange. The prayers you used to trust feel cold. The rooms you used to enter feel off. That is not paranoia. That is perception. That is not fear. That is discernment. The Spirit of the living God is heightening your senses, fine-tuning your spirit, sharpening your knowing. Because soon, the decisions will come. Soon, the lines will be drawn. And you will need to know who's who, what's what, and where to plant your feet. So rise, not in fear, but in readiness. Let the silence baptize you in clarity. Let the stillness cleanse your soul of distraction. Let this holy moment stretch your spirit. You are not being abandoned. You are being activated. This is your hour to hear beyond the noise. This is your moment to walk with your eyes wide open. This is your sacred season of perception. Now listen to the still, stern voice inside. That is me. That is the command. That is the revelation hidden in the retreat. I stepped back so you could see. You have not lost me. You have found what you needed to fight. And now, with your spirit sharpened, your atmosphere changed, and your ears awakened, the next instructions will be released. Stay alert. Stay aligned. And remember, silence is never empty when heaven is orchestrating a strategy. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. You weren't being paranoid. You were being prepared. It began quietly, didn't it? A subtle shift. A faint feeling in the atmosphere. Something wasn't quite right, but you couldn't find words to explain it. Conversations started to feel off. People you used to laugh with began feeling foreign. Dreams you once received like clockwork faded into fog. And worst of all, your prayers, once vibrant and met with assurance, now seemed to hang in the air unanswered. You weren't imagining it. You weren't being dramatic. You weren't being paranoid. You were being prepared. This was the silence before the storm of revelation. This was the tension before the divine unveiling. Something had to break in the unseen before clarity could reach your spirit in the physical. That pressure you felt in your chest, that strange emotional heaviness, that sudden wave of weariness, that was the spiritual disruption, a tremor in the spirit realm signaling that something hidden was being unearthed. You see, when Archangel Michael stepped back, it wasn't to leave you defenseless. It was to let the spiritual shadows stretch just long enough for their shapes to be recognized. And in the dimness, certain people began to show their true intent. Hidden observers who had been cloaked in friendship were suddenly exposed by their silence. Subtle betrayals you dismissed as overthinking began to feel sharper. The dream you had of someone smiling, only for their face to twist into something else, that wasn't just a dream, that was warning in code. You felt the sting of unanswered messages, the dull ache of support that mysteriously vanished, the sharp glance across the room when they didn't know you were looking. That wasn't coincidence. That was confirmation. And those whispers, did you hear them? The thoughts that tried to sneak in while you were half asleep. You're alone. No one sees you. You're abandoned. Those were not your thoughts. They were injections from dark forces trying to provoke confusion in your vulnerability. They were testing the cracks, testing the breach, because they thought the absence of the Archangel meant the absence of authority. They were wrong. The silence was a trap, and they walked right into it. This emotional disruption wasn't weakness, it was spiritual recalibration. Heaven was turning your inner compass toward the real, the pure, the trustworthy. But to do that, the false had to first rise up and show itself. That's why the dreams became riddled with symbols. That's why the air in certain places felt toxic. That's why you walked into rooms and had to leave, because your spirit recognized what your mind hadn't yet processed. You were never crazy. You were being calibrated. It's uncomfortable. I know. It feels like spiritual whiplash. But this is the separation that always comes before elevation. It is not punishment. It is promotion through pressure. Listen, heaven is not just calling you to survive this disruption. Heaven is calling you to see through it. Because while the world around you still operates on surface, you have now been given eyes that see beneath the smiles, ears that discern behind the compliments, and a spirit that no longer tolerates spiritual imposters. Let this moment baptize you in divine clarity. The confusion was only temporary. The veil is being lifted, and your discernment is becoming dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Now you understand why the Archangel had to step back. Not to hurt you, but to help you realize who has been standing behind you, and who's been lurking behind your victories, siphoning off your confidence, stealing your peace, and mimicking support. And now you know. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly divine revelations, prophetic warnings, and encouragement straight from the throne room. Stay connected. Stay awakened. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7722 is now activated. When heaven steps back, it reveals the snakes in your garden. Now hear this and receive it with the weight it deserves. This was never abandonment. It was divine intelligence. Heaven does not forsake the chosen. Heaven trains the chosen. Heaven tempers the chosen. And heaven knows when to lift its hand. not in anger, but in strategy. When Michael stepped back, it was not the collapse of your protection, it was the activation of your perception. For too long, some of you walked with serpents thinking they were allies. You invited them to your table. You shared secrets with them. You opened doors to them, because you could not see what stood behind their smiles. But heaven could. And when heaven saw what your heart couldn't detect, a divine move had to be made. The head had to tremble. The veil had to lift. The protection had to loosen, just enough for you to see what you needed to see. This is divine intelligence. This is a spiritual chess game. And you, beloved, are not a pawn. You are being trained to become a tactician in the spirit. Because the next battles will not be external. They will not be physical. They will come wrapped in good intentions, subtle manipulations, and friendly fire. You are not being thrown into warfare. You are being schooled in discernment. Understand this clearly. When heaven steps back, it does not leave. It watches. It reveals. It exposes. It is not the absence of God's love. It is the manifestation of God's strategy. And the moment you began to feel alone, that was the moment you were actually surrounded. Surrounded by revelation. Surrounded by truth. Surrounded by the acceleration of your spiritual growth. Because no one matures when everything is comfortable. Growth demands discomfort. Clarity requires conflict. And truth often rides in on the back of suffering. But here's the holy news. Nothing was hidden from God. Every whisper in the dark. Every plan behind your back. Every manipulative smile. Every envious heart. All of it had been seen. The Spirit of God hath been watching the watchers. Heaven hath been surveilling the ones who thought they were hidden. And now, you are being brought into alignment with what heaven already knows. This is not just a battle of personalities. This is not about betrayal for drama's sake. This is about your destiny. Because what you are about to step into cannot be contaminated by secret saboteurs. Your next level requires clean hands and pure alliances. So the Archangel was commanded to shift, to step back, to let them show themselves. And now that they have, your spirit must respond. Do not go back to blindness. Do not justify what heaven has exposed. Do not silence your discernment to maintain peace. This is war. This is separation. This is sanctification in action. What you see now is what you need to fight forward. And know this. While the silence taught you, heaven never stopped recording. Nothing will be wasted. Not your tears. Not your prayers. Not your confusion. It's all being used to frame your victory. So rise, warrior. You are not losing. You are learning. You are not alone. You are being aligned. You are not being punished. You are being prepared to walk into a level of spiritual authority that cannot be bought, faked, or copied. You were always protected. You just needed to see why the protection had to pause. Type "I am awakened" in the comments if this word reached you. Blessing code 1313 is being released now. Within 72 hours, what's been whispered will be exposed. There is a stirring in the spirit realm. Sharp, swift, undeniable. You can feel it if you pause long enough. A shift in the air. A tightening in your chest. A tension in your spirit that you can't name, but you know it's there. This is not random. This is not chaos. This is heaven's countdown. The Archangel stepped back not to leave you unguarded, but to mark the moment. And now that moment has arrived. Within 72 hours, yes, hear this clearly, What has been whispered in secret shall be shouted aloud. The invisible lines are about to become visible. The masks are about to fall. The shadows are beginning to move. You know why, no opening, no opening. The ones who operated in half-light, the ones who maneuvered in silence, they are about to be revealed for what they truly are. Feel this urgency. This isn't panic. This is preparation. You are not being called to fear, but to vigilance. What you do now, how you posture your spirit, how you align your decisions. These next 3 days will either anchor you deeper into divine safety or leave you vulnerable to deception. Because the adversary, sensing heaven's repositioning, has accelerated his schemes. The whispers in corners have turned into strategies in darkness. The enemy has begun to move pieces, push buttons, provoke situations, thinking you are still unaware. But you are not unaware. Not anymore. This message is a spiritual siren, the kind of revelation that does not echo in earthly ears but resounds through the soul of the awakened. That weight you feel is not heaviness, it is holy pressure. It is heaven prompting you to see what others are still ignoring. Listen closely, and you'll notice the patterns. Watch attentively, and you'll discern the cues. That random message you just received, not random. That strange behavior from someone you thought you knew, not accidental. They're showing you what they've been hiding. False friends are being activated. Hidden competitors are rising. Betrayers are becoming bold. Because the removal of the covering exposed what they thought was their opportunity. They believe you are vulnerable, but what they don't know is that heaven is setting them up. They are walking into the very traps they prepared for you. You will not be caught off guard, because this message is your advance notice. A divine intelligence briefing from the courts of heaven. There is something forming in the dark, something that has been planned against your peace, your name, your progress. But the Spirit of God is not asleep. Your silence is not weakness. It is divine strategy. Your stillness is not surrender. It is the positioning of a weapon. You will hear strange news. You will feel rising tension. You may even face confrontation. But do not react. Not yet. Heaven is watching to see how you respond. You must stay aligned. You must remain under instruction. Because if you act prematurely, you will interfere with the exposure. But if you remain steady, if you remain silent, if you remain submitted, the very thing that tried to overthrow you will collapse in front of your eyes. This is not the time to speak. This is the time to observe. This is not the time to fight. This is the time to discern. Because what is being revealed is deeper than you imagined, and the stakes are higher than they appear. In 72 hours, the spiritual veil over your situation will be torn, and those who once played both sides will be forced to choose. There will be a split, a revealing, a confrontation between light and shadow, and you, chosen one, must stand in the gap with clarity, not fear. Verity. Type ISE clearly in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 7770 is moving now. Now be still. Do not act yet. Now that you've seen what must be seen, now that you've felt the weight of what is unfolding, the command from heaven is clear. Be still. Do not act yet. Do not rush. Do not speak. Do not post. Do not try to fix what God is in the process of exposing. This is not your battle. This is your alignment. Your protection in this hour will not come through force. It will come through strategy, through stillness, through obedience. Archangel Michael has not disappeared. He has encircled your atmosphere from a distance, observing how you move, testing your discipline. Heaven is now watching not just what you see, but how you respond. And the command is this: do not act. Listen. Yearn. Watch. Wait. Your stillness is your strength. Your silence is your sword. You have entered a divine intelligence cycle where the next movement comes from information, not impulse. Your enemy wants you reactive. Your enemy wants you speaking too soon. The ones who have turned on you are baiting you to respond emotionally, irrationally, publicly. Don't take the bait. Let them think they've won. Let them whisper. Let them maneuver. But you go silent. You observe. You collect divine datum. You write what the Spirit shows you in the middle of the night. You stay in prayer. You remain in strategic communion. You speak in tongues when you feel the pressure building. You anoint your house when the air shifts, because your weapon in this hour is obedience, stillness, precision. Lay your phone down when the urge to react hits. Pause before responding to that passive-aggressive message. Sit in worship when your flesh wants to clap back. Heaven is training your hands for war, but your heart must first be stilled. You are in the middle of a divine watch, and every moment counts. Declare this over your home: I am covered, not by noise but by knowing. Say it again. Proclaim it into the corners of your atmosphere. Your roof is a shield. Your walls are angels. Your sleep will not be interrupted. Your space will not be invaded. You are not alone. The silence is heaven's way of securing the perimeter. Over your children, declare peace. Over your mind, declare clarity. Over your relationships, declare discernment. Over your name, declare justice. Because everything that was once left in shadow is about to come to light. But not by your hand, by heaven's decree. You are being commanded to trust the timing, to trust the delay, to trust the strategy. And if you hold your peace now, the storm will pass and you will remain standing. Do not reach for old weapons. Do not reopen old wounds. Do not seek revenge. Heaven fights differently. Heaven waits until the perfect moment, and then strikes with precision, silence, and power. So align yourself now. Speak these words: I will not move until God moves. I will not speak until heaven speaks. I will not fight what I am already winning. And as you declare that, feel your atmosphere shift. Feel the strength return to your bones. Feel the clarity descend on your mind. You are protected, but that protection demands precision. This is not the time for chaos. This is the hour of obedience. Do not act until heaven says, now. Because when heaven says move, everything will change. Type I am under divine strategy in the comments if you're aligned with this command. Blessing code 2244 is sealing you now. You're not who you were when this began. Let the heavens declare it now. You are not who you were when this began. You stepped into this silence as one who depended. You're stepping out of it as one who now discerns. The difference is divine. The difference is dangerous to darkness. What felt like divine absence was actually your soul being forged in holy fire. You didn't just survive the stillness. You were shaped by it. You thought the absence of Archangel Michael meant you were left vulnerable. You were own. What really happened is this: heaven took a step back to watch you rise. And you did. Quietly. Slowly. But steadily. Without applause. Without confirmation. Without clarity. And yet you kept walking. You kept praying. You kept standing. And now, the Spirit says this over you. You have grown wings while they slept. Your enemies weren't watching. The deceivers weren't listening. While they whispered, you were worshiping. While they mocked, you were meditating. While they strategized, you were being strengthened. You were being tempered in obedience, hardened in humility, tested in silence. And what you've become in this process is something no human can manufacture. You've become unshakable. Do you realize what heaven did? They didn't throw you away. They hid you. In plain sight. Heaven camouflaged your glory so the wrong ones wouldn't contaminate it. They muted your light so the thieves wouldn't find your oil. They took your name off the radar, not to punish you, but to preserve you, to purify your circle, to train your instincts, to discipline your mouth. And now, you're no longer at the mercy of man's validation. You've broken the victim narrative. You've outgrown the season of waiting for others to confirm what God already decreed. The silence trained your soul to hear God without needing a second opinion. You don't require applause. You're driven by assignment now. You don't crave attention. You walk in anointing now. You don't beg to be seen. You've been marked by heaven. And that mark, it cannot be removed. It cannot be mimicked. It cannot be stolen. It is the stamp of the Spirit upon those who have endured the secret trials of heaven's refining fire. Now listen to this declaration. This was not punishment. This was your graduation. You passed what others would have folded under. You stayed when others ran. You waited when others rushed. You listened when others shouted. You believed when the evidence disappeared. And now, you are no longer waiting to be empowered. You are walking in that power. Your words now carry weight. Your prayers shake atmospheres. Your silence confuses your enemies. And your spirit no longer needs signs. It knows. You have entered the realm of maturity in the Spirit. And from this moment forward, what once attacked you will retreat. What once strained you will be repelled. What once distracted you will no longer pull at your soul. Why? Because heaven has seen you emerge. You are no longer fragile. You are fire. So lift your head. Stand with your shoulders squared. Walk with a rhythm that carries divine confidence. Speak only when heaven gives you words. Love with discernment. Move with clarity. Rest in the authority you've gained. Because the version of you that began this season is no longer here. And the version standing now. This one is dangerous to darkness, trained by truth, sealed by silence. You've been forged for something far greater than you imagined. Type I am empowered in the comments if this is your season of graduation. Blessing code 9997 is being dispatched. Your spirit has been marked. That's why they came. Hear this now, with urgency, with clarity, and with reverence. The reason you felt the attack, the reason you sensed the shift, the reason Archangel Michael stepped back, is because your spirit has been marked. You were marked long before you knew your name. You were sealed long before you felt the call. And those around you, they sensed it. The light, the oil, the authority. They may not have known how to name it, but they knew you were different. This is not arrogance. This is awareness. Your life carries divine consequence. And because of that, darkness watches. You were marked, and that's why they came. The enemy saw it. The watchers saw it. Hell took note when heaven whispered your name into the atmosphere. And the moment you said yes, even in your weakness, even when you didn't understand, even when you didn't have strength, The realm of darkness declared you a threat. You didn't pick this warfare. Your calling did. And now, the revelation must be released. This retreat of the Archangel was never about danger. It was about destiny. The spiritual covering pulled back because it was time for the veil to lift. It was time for the charade to crumble. It was time for the wheat and the tares to be separated. And you, beloved, were being positioned in real time. The betrayal, the confusion, the spiritual static, all of it was part of the unlocking. Heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was watching to see if you would pass the test. Would you trust in the silence? Would you stay faithful in the absence of signs? Would you keep moving forward with no confirmation? And you did. You passed it. And now, the heavens are shifting. Blessings that were delayed are now being realigned. Resources that were withheld are now being released. Doors that were closed are now creaking open. Not because God changed his mind, but because you passed the test. You were trusted with silence. You were entrusted with patience. And now the windows of heaven are opening again, not with noise, but with strategy. Listen closely. What you thought was warfare was actually promotion. What you perceived as abandonment was your ascension. You didn't lose favor, you matured into it. You didn't fall. You were lifted through stillness. And now, I declare this over your name, your family, your destiny. Heaven knows your name. Heaven remembers your silence. Heaven has written your obedience in the archives of eternity. So prepare your heart, because the next days will not just bring revelation, they will bring reversal. You will see why they betrayed you. You will hear what they sent behind your back. You will know who prayed against you. But none of it will break you. It will only confirm what God already showed you in the Spirit. Do not harden your heart. Do not let bitterness fester. Just receive this truth. Heaven only tests those it trusts. And now that you've passed, the next wave of blessing will not come to break you. It will come to establish you. You've been approved, not by man, not by system, but by Spirit. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $10. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe for prophetic insights, spiritual warfare teachings, and divine revelations sent weekly to empower your walk. Type I am marked in the comments if this word confirms your journey. Blessing code 4040 is circling around your destiny now. Now you must say yes. You've heard the whispers. You've seen the signs. You've walked through the stillness. You've endured the stripping. You felt the archangel's retreat and still held your posture. Now you must say yes. Yes to the call. Yes to the cost. Yes to the weight. Yes to the authority. This moment is not simply about understanding the shift. It is about activating your destiny. Because heaven is not only revealing, heaven is releasing. You were never supposed to stay in the place of spiritual paralysis. The silence was a season. But now, the trumpet has sounded. The scroll has been opened. The name has been read, your name. This isn't a gentle invitation. This is a divine command. Step forward. Step into the responsibility. Step into the authority. Step into the assignment you once felt unworthy of. Because now, heaven declares you ready. You've been refined by silence. You've been trained by stillness. You've been matured through misunderstanding, and the mantle that once hovered over your life has now descended upon your shoulders. You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be positioned. You are not being asked to impress. You are being asked to obey. Your destiny does not depend on applause. It depends on alignment. The heavens are not waiting on your feelings. They are waiting on your yes. And what is that yes made of? It's made of obedience and discomfort. It's made of courage and uncertainty. It's made of worship when the answers don't come. It's made of faith that defies what your eyes see. This is not the kind of yes you give in comfort. This is the kind of yes that breaks chains in the spirit realm. Understand this. The shift is not completed until you step into it. The change has occurred in the heavens. The scroll has been signed. The anointing has been released. But until you say yes, not just with words but with action, the transition remains paused. You are not waiting on God anymore. God is now waiting on you. So this is your call to move. Make the declaration. Rearrange your routine. Let go of the distraction. Shut the doors God told you to close. Speak the thing He told you to declare. Forgive who He told you to release. Step into the room you've been afraid to enter. Launch the thing you've been delaying. Because with every step of obedience, the shift in your destiny finalizes. And I must tell you, some will not come with you. Some will not understand. Some will resist what God is doing in you. Let them. Do not be distracted by the ones who stayed in yesterday. Your yes will shake your atmosphere. Your yes will draw new alignments. Your yes will seal heaven's approval over the next phase of your assignment. This is no longer about what you feel. This is about what you carry. And what you carry has the weight of nations, generations, and legacies inside of it. This is bigger than you. Your family line needs your yes. Your bloodline depends on your obedience. Your territory is waiting on your movement. Don't just hear this word, move with it. Don't just agree, obey. Because obedience is the bridge between revelation and manifestation. Your next miracle isn't waiting on more prophecy. It's waiting on your participation. Heaven says this: the covering was never removed to destroy you. It was lifted to awaken you. And now that you're awake, you must say yes. So say it. Speak it. Write it. Move in it. And the moment you do, everything will begin to respond to your obedience. Type yes in the comments if your spirit is ready. Blessing code 3111 is opening the path before you now. While you cried, heaven collected every word. While you wept in your room, hidden from the world, unsure if anyone saw or understood, something divine was taking place. A holy transaction. A sacred exchange that defies human logic. While you cried, while you doubted, while you groaned with prayers too deep for words, heaven was recording. Your tears were not in vain. Your whispers in the dark were not ignored. The silence that surrounded you was never empty. It was filled with activity from the throne room. While you thought nothing was happening, scrolls were being opened. Angels were being dispatched. Names were being declared. You were being upgraded in the spirit realm. There's something you must understand now. Something your flesh will never tell you, but your spirit already knows. Not one moment of silence was wasted. Every delayed answer became a deposit. Every withheld miracle became momentum. Every unspoken word was caught, counted, and carried before the throne. Heaven heard the nights you couldn't even pray. Heaven saw the moments when worship felt heavy. Heaven watched you hold your posture while everything around you tried to convince you to give up. And it was then, in the silence, that heaven started building your reward. This is the silent exchange, your faith for divine fulfillment, your discipline for divine downloads, your trust for timing. Every time you kept walking when you wanted to run, heaven was watching. Every time you didn't retaliate when you could have, heaven was weighing it. And in that divine scale, you've been found faithful. I speak this to you now as the Archangel of God's justice. You have been traded into glory. You have shifted from hidden to heralded, from watched to trusted, from tested to triumphant. What was once silent has now been stamped. Your record in the Spirit is sealed. The silence wasn't absence. It was a divine negotiation. The courts of heaven were meeting. The books were being opened. Your name was written beside the word remnant, beside the word faithful, beside the word approved. The transactions were invisible, but the results will be undeniable. Because now, as the silence lifts, the ripple effects of what happened behind the veil are about to manifest in front of your face. Divine opportunities, unexpected favor, accelerated blessings, heaven-backed strategy. You are about to step into things you didn't chase because you chose to be still while heaven moved. And hear this. There are angels now assigned to fulfill what was transacted. Messengers have been dispatched to guard your path, to shield your decisions, to carry your new assignment to completion. They are moving even now, unseen but unstoppable. You gave God your trust in silence. Now, God is giving you authority in the open. So lift your head. Let your tears now become praise. You are standing on the other side of the exchange. You are walking in the fulfillment of what was once whispered. You are now a living manifestation of a silent covenant, forged not in noise, but in sacred stillness. You were never forsaken. You were never ignored. You were just being transacted into glory. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if this word ignited your soul. Blessing code 8820 is released upon your household. Justice is already flowing like a river. Now hear this, and let it shake the very foundations of your doubt. Justice is not coming. It is already flowing like a river. The moment Archangel Michael stepped back, the heavens began to prepare not only your revelation, but your vindication. This was never just about what you saw. This was never just about what was revealed in the silence. This was always about what would be reversed because of it. You were not cast away, you were brought into the courtroom of heaven. And in that holy place, every tear you shed became evidence. Every betrayal became a record. Every lie spoken against you became ammunition in the hands of the just judge. Heaven has watched long enough. Now justice is moving. Those who plotted behind closed doors, those who slandered your name with poisoned tongues, those who manipulated spiritual language to camouflage control, they are now being summoned into divine confrontation. For they did not offend just you, they offended heaven. And heaven is not mocked. What they sowed in shadows, they will now reap in full exposure. They touched the anointed. They mishandled what God sealed. They accused what heaven had called. And now, the sword of justice is descending. This is not vengeance by your hand. This is vindication by God's hand. The trap they laid for you will be the very snare that catches them. The pit they dug for you will be the graveyard of their own schemes. The delay they tried to cause will now become the platform that propels you forward. And you will not even have to lift a finger. Because divine reversal doesn't require your revenge. It requires your rest. While they scurry to manage the fallout of exposure, you will be promoted. While they try to explain what can't be hidden, you will be elevated. While they look over their shoulder for the consequences, You will walk through doors they tried to keep closed. This is the season of reversal, of divine exchange. The last shall be first. The forgotten shall be remembered. The message shall be established. The torn down shall be lifted. What you thought you lost was actually being preserved for such a time as this. The role, the relationship, the resource, it's coming back. But this time it's coming clean, it's coming whole, it's coming without compromise. You're not stepping into restoration that looks like the past. You're stepping into a reversal that redefines your future. And no enemy can stop it. No system can block it. No delay can outlast it. Because the gavel of heaven has struck, and the case is closed. Justice has a name, and his name is Jesus. He is the one who saw your tears when no one understood. He is the one who walked with you when the silence was deafening. He is the one who recorded every injustice and now releases divine judgment with precision. He is the one who says today, you will recover all. So don't retaliate. Don't respond. Don't return to the scene of the betrayal. Rise from it. Stand in what heaven is releasing. Let the record show. You stayed pure. You stayed silent. You stayed faithful. And now, the judgment is being issued in your favor. You are not just being restored. You are being vindicated. In public. In power. In full. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $5. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Make sure you subscribe for more prophetic insights, divine justice updates, and spiritual empowerment sessions tailored just for you. Type I receive divine justice in the comments. Blessing code 1010 is covering you now with holy retribution. You were never unprotected, just repositioned. Let the record of heaven echo through your spirit now. You were never unprotected. You were simply repositioned. The covering never left. It shifted. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. The stillness wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, at the end of this unveiling, this refining, this awakening, the Spirit of God says, you are sealed, seen, and sent. This journey wasn't light. It wasn't painless. But it was divine. You've walked through the silence with faith. You've endured the absence with trust. You faced the shadow and still believed. And now, the shift has finalized. Their positioning is complete. You are no longer where you were, spiritually, emotionally, or prophetically. You are not simply healed, you are commissioned. So take this final word and hold it like a sword in your spirit. You lack nothing. You are missing nothing. You are right on time. What was withheld is now being handed. What was stolen is now being returned. What was delayed is now being accelerated. And above all, what was hidden is now being revealed. You've been refined into a vessel of honor, a weapon of wisdom, a carrier of clarity. The old version of you is no more. You are now clothed in holy resilience, wrapped in divine understanding, shielded by heaven's assignment, and you will never again mistake a pause for rejection or a silence for abandonment. Because now you know, now you see, now you move differently. You walk with purpose. You speak with power. You listen with precision. And you will never again tolerate what once drained your fire. Now rise, not just physically but spiritually. Rise in confidence. Rise in clarity. Rise in knowing who you are. Rise in the full power of what heaven has already released. The Archangel has repositioned. The strategy has shifted. And the host of heaven marches beside you again. To go. Not timidly. Not fearfully. But boldly. Go and reclaim everything. Everything they said you'd never have. Everything they delayed. Everything they cursed. Everything they mocked. Go and get it. Because you were never unprotected. You were simply being positioned for a greater return. May peace follow your every step. May angels flank your every move. May discernment guide your every word. And may the fire of divine confirmation burn in your bones from this moment forward. This is not the end. This is the emergence. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now go, and let the earth know who heaven has called. Type "I am sent" in the comments to receive your final sealing. Blessing code 3033 is activated.